Okay, here's everything you need for a 32 furnace smelter. We're gonna build that one first, and then I'll show you how you can make it bigger. We're gonna start by placing our furnaces 2 blocks above the ground. Place them in 2 rows of 16 with a 3 block gap in between. Then place rows of hoppers pointing into the top of the furnaces and into the sides. Now place powered rails on top of all the hoppers except these 2. Then connect both layers with regular rails like so. And we're gonna power these rails. Start counting from the corner and place a redstone block on the 9th rail. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And do the same on the other side. Now let's build the item distribution. We're gonna start by building out 5 blocks on the left side and replacing the center one with the redstone block. Then put 1 block diagonally, place powered rails here, and a detector rail here, which should now be tilted. Now on the other side we're gonna place blocks here, a powered rail on top, 2 blocks like this, and a fence gate. Then from underneath the fence gate build out 4 blocks. And build a staircase towards the detector rail. Then place a normal rail in the corner and also here, and make it tilted. Now you can place powered rails and a redstone block to power them. Then you can remove this rail and place a double chest on top, and that's gonna be your input chest. You can also place your hopper minecart on top of the fence gate. Now let's make the item pickup circuit. So start by placing a block here with a comparator on top. That comparator points into a block, and next to the block is redstone dust. Then place another block and a redstone torch on top, which is pointing into a block with a torch on its side. Place 2 blocks here, a repeater set to 2 ticks on this one, a fence gate next to the chest and a block on top of it. Then place a comparator, a block, a torch and another block with a torch on its side. And then build a redstone line all the way to this fence gate. So now if we put items into the chest, it releases the minecart, and this circuit makes sure it picks up exactly 32 items every time. But even if there's less than 32 items, it will still go off and smelt it, because it uses delay unlike other designs I've seen. So it's super reliable. Okay, let's move on to the fuel distribution. Start by placing blocks wrapping around and put an elevated block on each side like this. Place powered rails on this side and fill the rest with regular rails, except this one here, which is gonna be a detector rail. Then place a redstone block here, go out 2 blocks like this, and place another block here, a powered rail, and a tilted detector rail. Then put a fence gate here and a comparator next to the rail. Place a block, redstone, another block like this, and a repeater. Then place a torch, a repeater pointing into the comparator, and a hopper minecart on the detector rail. Now put a double chest 3 blocks away from the other one, and a hopper line leading to the hopper minecart. So this circuit releases the minecart when it's completely full of fuel. It's not the most effective solution, but it's definitely the simplest. But now if we release it, it would just keep circling around. So let's fix that. But it's a bit tricky, because rails are very directional. So first we power the rail by placing a torch under it. Now if you power it and the rail changes and is now pointing into the station, it's gonna be a bit more complicated. But if you power it and the rail stays like this, then it's gonna be easier, so I'm gonna show that one first. All you need to do is place a comparator next to the detector rail. It points into a block, next to it is redstone dust, then a repeater, a block, and another repeater. Now the other one. So again, that's if you power the rail and it changes. So place a comparator and a block. Now put redstone dust under the block. Then a repeater that points into a block and another repeater. And place a redstone torch on this block, which should now be powering our rail. So now when the minecart goes over the rail and it has items, the rail will change and it will continue. But if it's empty, it will return to the station. Now if you want to fill the furnaces with fuel, you have to input at least 5 stacks, so it's not the best, and it takes a while. But if you hook it up to bamboo farm, you never have to worry about fuel again, and it will get evenly distributed. Alright, now we can move on to the collection system. First we'll place a dropper 1 block above the ground in between here. Then run hoppers from underneath all the furnaces into the dropper. Now we're gonna build an auto dropper circuit. So place a target block next to the dropper, place a comparator, set it to subtract mode, then place a repeater and connect it with redstone dust. Now place soul sand on top of the dropper and place blocks around it like this. If you didn't do that, the items would just spill out the sides. Now take your glass and build a 4 block tall tube. And leave this side 1 block shorter. Then build 3 blocks out from here. Place a double chest and a hopper pointing into it. Place glass on top of the chest and the sides so water can flow there. Then put water on this block, fill up the tube with kelp and break it. And now you should have a working water elevator. Now place 2 blocks above it so items can spill out and you're done. By the way, you don't actually need to use glass, the only reason is because solid blocks would block this redstone signal. And it looks nicer. So now you can cover it up and have only the chest visible. You can even continue the wall on both sides. But if you do want to see the inner workings, you can build it like this, with the glass floor and have it all visible. And if you don't care at all how it looks, you can even build this simpler kinda bare bones version. But the chests are a bit less accessible. So if you want to check these out, there's a world download in the description. But if you need to smelt a lot of stuff, you're gonna need a bigger smelter. This is gonna be a 64 furnace smelter, so it's twice as fast, but also a lot more complicated. Here's all the stuff you need for it. I've already placed all the furnaces, hoppers and rails, but this time there's a 5 block gap between the rows. So let's start with item distribution. This side is pretty much the same. But on the right side, the fence gate is 1 block lower, because we'll have 2 hopper minecarts. So place a tilted rail under the fence gate. Then build powered rails leading to the detector rail, just like this. And place a redstone block to power them. Now place your input chest and a fence gate. Then a comparator next to the detector rail, 2 repeaters on full delay behind it, 3 more pointing into the fence gate, and connect them with redstone dust. Then place a block here, a comparator reading the chest, a block behind it, and 3 blocks out. And on top of them is redstone, a repeater and another piece of dust. This time we have 2 hopper minecarts, so we can have the fence gate open all the time. So we're gonna put a sticky piston facing down next to the line. The piston has an observer on its face and it's pointing this way. Then we're gonna place blocks here and put redstone dust on top. Now let's build out 8 blocks on this side. Place 3 blocks across with 2 more on top like this. And redstone dust in between. Then put more blocks here and a sticky piston with a block on top instead of the last one. And now put repeaters on full delay on all these blocks. There should be 15 of them in total. So now, when you put in items, this piston extends, that creates a clock, which releases the minecarts one by one, and they pick up exactly a stack of items, thanks to our delay circuit. Okay, the fuel distribution is the exact same, so if you skipped it, you can go back to the timestamp. Just keep in mind the directionality of rails. So let's move on to the collection system. This time we're gonna have 3 chests, 1 block higher than the other ones. Because if we had just 1 hopper, it would get backed up really fast and it would take forever to get all the items into the chest. And if you are smelting a lot of items, some of them would even despawn. So first we're gonna place 2 droppers on each side in the rough center. And hopper lines from underneath the furnaces pointing into them. Then build auto dropper circuits on both sides, which look like this. Now we're gonna place glass around, build out 5 blocks on each side, and place water in these two corners. Now build a water elevator that goes up 8 blocks. Then the water stream goes 2 blocks to either left or right, and you can route it to the chests like so. Don't forget to place blocks here and above the water elevator so you don't lose any items. And of course use pack ties and either signs, pressure plates or slabs in the gaps and in front of the water elevator. And that's the whole system complete. And if you want this version where you can see stuff moving, you can of course check out the war download, which is in the description. So thank you so much for watching, subscribe if you want to get better at Minecraft, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.